Hi, you're with India Post Live, India's first online news conversation web TV. I'm Ishan Russell, and India Post is, of course, a forum for you to participate. You can just go to any of the social media tools that you have on your smartphone, your tablet, your laptop. Just in your mind, if you can just go there, go to Facebook. India Post Live is pages over there. You can log in and post a comment over there. You can use Twitter, hashtag India Post Live to your tweets, or you can use our Twitter handle at India Post Live, or just go to indiapostlive.com to see this live right now, and of course to view it later as well when there is when you want to. That's content on demand, video on demand for you as well. So, and you can log in and post a comment over there, and you can even come in via Skype and Google Hangout. We have experts answering your questions, taking up issues that are commonly not really talked about. So we decided to talk about one such issue today, and that is about there was a newspaper report that said that an RTI had been filed, and in that it was discovered that last year alone 165 pilots in India came in drunk for their flights. Now that is an alarming statistic. How safe are our skies, or how safe are the passengers? Well, we'll be discussing all that and more, but first the story.
Statistics from the Director General of Civil Aviation have shown that there has been a gradual increase every year in the number of pilots having higher than permissible limits of alcohol in their bloodstream during pre-flight medical tests. In the last 5 years, 50 pilots were grounded for reporting drunk in Delhi. In Mumbai, it was 47, Kolkata 18, and in Chennai, 17. The problem is rampant, and airlines are making the most of loopholes in the law to evade checks and maintain flight schedules. The DGCA says it is too understaffed to come down hard on drunk pilots. So, who will be ultimately answerable for passenger safety?
Alright, to understand what really is the problem, and is it being addressed, is it really even being spoken about, and why not so, and if so, then what are the steps being taken? We have with us Lakshmi Krishna Kumar. She's the Deputy Editor over here at India Post Live, and Asha Khosa, she's a Senior Journalist and Deputy Editor over here as well. Oh, sorry, a Consulting Editor over here as well. Lakshmi, but I'll start with you. Quite an alarming statistics. I mean, for millions of passengers who use flights in India, this could be a little bit of a problem, isn't it?
Yes, in India, in a year there are over 75 million passengers, and it is really sad that its lives in danger, and the DGCA is saying that they are understaffed, and we've been hearing that for a very long time, and there's nothing that's being done about it. Pilots come, and even when they report drunk, they are allowed to fly, and that's the sad part.
Right, Asha?
Actually, this is very scary, as a person who flies, not often, but sometimes, all of us fly. It's very scary to know that you have been probably flown in by a pilot who was not in a proper shape of mind. But, and the most worrying thing as a passenger for me would be that DGCA is saying that we can do nothing about it because we are understaffed. On the other hand, you are adding more airlines to the Indian bouquet of services, air services you're providing to people, and more and more of people are making use of these air services. They're flying to destinations by air, and if this is the unreliability of our pilots, this is their conduct. And there's no check on them. Right. It's a very sad situation. It also reflects poorly on this sector's management.
Absolutely, and aviation was the big booming sector at one point in time. Now you have airlines going under. There are new entrants into the market like AirAsia and all these big players coming in. But at the end of the day, the question is, does that add more pressure? Are we resolving issues like the pilot safety, or rather pilot monitoring and really control in terms of all these safety regulations?
While that is what we should be looking at, and that is what the government says the aim is, it looks like it's going downhill, and that's not where it is going. And there's been more and more problems, and when they say that there's no stats about any of these things, and Times of India had to file an RTI to get something like this out. And if you remember, in 2012 a pilot was suspended for 3 months because he reported drunk, and after that we didn't hear anything about it. And then now we know from reports that 165, it's a huge number, and considering that 70, more than 75 million passengers, international, domestic, and we are responsible for, international travelers, Indians, it's just not something that is, that you can fathom.
All right, we have on the phone line Mr. Anil Malik. He's the former regional manager for Saudi Arabia Airlines. Thank you very much for coming in, sir. You're obviously somebody who's worked in the industry, know these kind of incidents firsthand. How common is this? Is this statistic of 165 pilots between 2009 and 2014 February? 165 pilots were found having high blood alcohol levels during checks. Is this statistic alarming or is it underreported?
It is definitely alarming. If you see in Saudi Arabia, you will not get any pilot who is having alcohol before he boards the aircraft. All the checks have been done after the security hold area. That is what I am insisting upon, that the pilot's alcohol check must be done after the security hold area before the boarding the aircraft. The 3 pilots, those who were caught, they were in their office and then they were denied boarding. My suggestion is they must be checked before the aircraft boarding. That's my suggestion.
Right, sir. But as far as how common is this, I want to understand that from you as well. How common are instances like these? Are these underreported? Is 165 a small figure compared to how often this would be happening?
Well, it is an alarming situation. Basically, 165, that means you multiply it by minimum 300 passengers. You are risking.
Right, and how common is this? I mean, is this something you've encountered on a personal level interacting with pilots? I mean, it's a high pressure job at the end of the day, and the kind of perks are also very beneficial in terms of there are a lot of benefits you're getting to travel. There is a whole different lifestyle associated with a pilot. Is that constituting as a problem? Would you feel that?
That's true. The high fly and the perks, all these things do matters. But at the same time, my experience at the Delhi airport was zero. It is very common in domestic as well as on national carrier Air India. On Saudi Arabian Airlines, which has never occurred.
Mr. Malik, I just wanted to ask you, you have the experience of flying internationally. I want to know, in your view, is it only an India-specific problem, or this problem is found in other airlines also?
Worldwide, basically. But here 165 pilots are over alarming. It is alarming. Mr. Kola is aware of it, that he was the one who started alcohol contents check at the airport in their offices, if I'm not mistaken. He will be the best person to answer these questions. Mr. Kola.
Hello? Yes, go ahead, sir.
Mr. Kola should be, can put a more light on this.
All right, we don't
Because
have him.
he
We're
was
trying to
the
get across to him. But Lakshmi, as being pointed out, it's quite a common instance. And where does the accountability lie? Does it lie with each individual airline, or would it lie with the DGCA? Who would be really in charge and who would be really calling the shots? Because what our story also tells us is the fact that many of them go unpunished and it often goes underreported.
Yes, it goes unpunished, and knowing that the pilot has reported drunk, they let him fly, and that is not acceptable. And again, DGCA is responsible for this, for the actions and also checks, before the pilot, when the pilot reports and if he's flying. So when they say that they are understaffed, that is something that, you know, you're just throwing your hands up in the air and saying that we are understaffed, we can't do anything about it. So, I mean, who's answerable? Who should be penalized? You know, DGCA or pilots who are reporting and say that we are drunk and then putting them up
Maybe
to
the
fly.
airline, I mean, whose final call is it? I mean, Mr. Malik, if you can throw some light on this, who do you think should be finally accountable? And I mean, is there a larger body across the world that can take action against the DGCA if it's not strict in implementing these norms?
Only the DGCA has to be strict in these norms. Understaffing is not an excuse. You are risking the passenger's life. Definitely no. This is no answer. In other countries, like look at the Middle East, anywhere in Middle East, you won't find, these are almost 0% contents of alcohol you will find in any of the pilots. But wherever in India, 165 pilots got caught. It is too much and it is alarming.
Yeah, go ahead.
Also, the number of pilots in India, we don't have enough pilots. We have, you know.
Yeah, we have a lot of foreign nationals coming in and flying, sir. So, I mean, to say that Indian pilots are flying drunk would not be a really correct statement. But pilots flying across airlines in India have been caught with high blood alcohol content. But Mr. Malik, if you can just explain this to us, how different would having high blood alcohol levels be from being drunk? To say, I mean, is it just about? Is there some kind of a measure in that sense?
That is there. That is definitely there. I think there should be a 0% alcohol content should be there, but it was found even the drugs were used in European country.
Okay.
In one of the European country.
That is indeed even more surprising and more worrying.
Yes.
But there are so many lives at risk. So
So many lives at risk, and they're saying that, you know, you somebody, you know, if you once the first time you you've committed this, and you punished for 3 months, you're suspended for 3 months, and the second time it is 2 years, and the third time 5 years. But here we have so many of them, and we've heard of, I mean, again, Captain. Sebastian Thomas, I suppose, in 2012, you know, when it became a big story in the media about he was suspended for 3 months because he was also a trainer, he was, you know, he was a teacher, he was that experienced person, Captain Thomas. So that had become news and, you know, all of that. But the follow-up and, you know, what happens after that, you know, how many of them report drunk and, you know, all of that, nothing came up. It's basically, you know, just not being responsible. The DGCA has to, you know, address this issue and not say that we are understaffed.
I think the problem also is because the government of India has allowed this sector to expand at a very rapid rate without looking at the basic infrastructure available and also the manpower available. That is the reason, probably one of the reasons could be that, because there are less pilots available, and there is probably they have to you know, go on more sorties. There are more higher working hours. Probably, I'm guessing it, and that's why they're taking all these liberties. Exactly. And the DGCA is also putting up with all this nonsense because as they are officially saying, we have no alternative, so we have to put up with all this nonsense. So I think problem lies with the government and policy making. We just want revenue. We want more and more planes to come to our airports without having adequate people to fly them, ground staff. And we're just looking at, you know, the Indian economy should get a boost with more airlines coming into India. Somewhere the problem lies there also.
All right, fair enough. I think that would be a perfect way to sum it up. That is where the problem lies, and let's hope the new government, with the new civil aviation minister, would certainly look at this aspect, because this is indeed an alarming statistic. Thanks very much, Mr. Anil Malik, for coming in and sharing your perspective from really the horse's mouth, as they say. And thanks very much, Lakshmi and Asha, for coming in and discussing and helping our viewers understand. So, what did you think about this entire presentation? It's a brief but concise one, just for your consumption, for you to think about this issue. because, I mean, at the end of the day, you also take a flight. So how worried would you be if your pilot was drunk? Think about that, write in to us, tell us what you think. You can even tweet to us, hashtag India Post Live, or use our Twitter handle at India Post Live. Use Facebook to get in touch with us, or use the internet, go to indiapostlive.com, log in and post a comment over there. Thanks so much for watching.